Okay, so in part one of how to create a cross stitch pattern slash chart, this is the pumpkin that we put on paper. What I did was I went and took my computer program and I went in and I drew out exactly what we put on the graph paper. I did a fill in, I put the back stitching on it, and then I added a little Happy Halloween to it. So this is the pattern that I'm giving away for free, and I'll leave the link below. Actually, for the part one, I am about to do part two, and this is the pumpkin. I finally finished it. I did the material short because I didn't want to do the Happy Halloween. I'm actually going to make this one into a pin cushion. So I wish the colors would come out like on the screen. But anyway, so yeah, this is it. This is what we created in the how-to video part one. Now on to part two. And before we go to part two, if you're interested, I know this isn't Halloween anymore, but if you want this free pattern, and this is actually the pattern that you would get in PDF form, if you're interested, just shoot me an email at young40mom@gmail.com. That's YOUNG40MOM@gmail.com. I will leave that in the description box below as well, and we'll go from there. Okay. I'm going to try not to bump the tripod with my knee. I'm trying to figure out a way to get this to where I get the best lighting. Alright, so for the second step that I went through on creating my cross stitch patterns, I saw it was on, I think, Aleene's Creative Living when it used to come on. It was either that or the Cara Duvall show. But anyway, I saw this company called Cross Stitch Graphic. Let's see if I can get that on the camera okay without bumping it. Yeah. And that's where my second step came in. I thought it was really cool the way that gives you, I think it gives you 4 sheets, and each one is a different, let me move this out of the way, is a different grid. Okay, I'm going to use this white paper. This one is 8 count, and this is so you can also do, you can make your own patterns for needlepoint as well. So this one is the 8 stitches to an inch, so 8 count. And let's see, this one is the 10 count, and I'm going to explain that here in a minute. So I hope you guys can see this on the paper okay. Is it coming in okay? Okay, so that's the 10 count. It also has a 12 count, and you can see how they're getting smaller. Also, you'll notice on the edges there's little notches. I might have to take that off the tripod and explain it a little bit better that way. Alright guys, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to do this freehand a little bit better. I'm having to sit at my daughter's craft table. If you saw the Get to Know Your Needleworker tag, it had, you could see her table in the background. Move this out of the way. She's a little crafter like her mommy. She does a little bit of everything. Alright, move that out of the way. Let's see. Oh, I got this like 15 years ago, I think. So I'm going to adjust it. I paid $10.95 at some craft store in SeaTac, which is, if any of you are familiar with the Washington area, it's a little, SeaTac Mall is in between the Tacoma and Seattle. Yeah. Okay, so this one is, where's my white paper? I apologize. I'm trying to get this done before Maxon gets home from school, because she will be giggling the whole time. Anyway, so this one is, again, it's the cross-stitch graphic. It's a graphing system. And I'll explain what's so great about this in a moment. Oh, it's not focusing the way I want it to. This is the 14 count. Let's see, is it going to do it? There we go. Anyway, okay, copyrighted 1991, created by Nancy Claytor, C-L-A-Y-T-O-R, I believe. Nancy Claytor Designs Incorporated, out of York, South Carolina. Anyway, it's called Graphic. Graphite, I'm sorry. This is the 14 count. But what is so cool about these sheets, and like I said, you get 4 of them in the different grids. I'll try to adjust here. You draw your pattern, and then color it in with colored pencils, and it is erasable. So what you could do is, after you make your pattern, which is what I used to do, I would transfer it to my computer, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. And then that way I would have a copy of it, or I can put it on a scanner bed and copy it. And yeah. So anyway, at the bottom, I'm a little flighty. I apologize. I just got off work and I'm trying to get this done quickly. I'll probably have to piece several of these together. But anyway, so at the bottom of the sheet, it gives you 3 little blocks and then a line, so that you can put down, you can color in the little blocks with whatever color you're supposed to have, and the little line is so you can put your floss color or your floss number. So you could do, because the computer program that I have, you can use Mirabilia, not Mirabilia, I'm sorry, Mill Hill, Anchor, JP Coates, DMC, there's, oh gosh, Brasilla, I think. There's like 9 or 10 different floss choices, so you don't have to do a DMC. It's just, DMC is so universal in the States that DMC is what I usually use. Now, okay, back to this pattern. This is one I started working on, oh, I guess a couple years ago, and I haven't done anything with it in a while. Of course, you recognize him, any of you that know Garfield. This is Odie, Garfield's little dog friend. And what I did was, it was a coloring book page, and I just thought this would be so cute. I didn't want to do it spread out like some of my patterns are, where there's huge blocks of color. And I just traced the, wow, brain fart. Ooh, that was bad. Trace the coloring book page. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. You're going to think, oh my gosh, she's so flighty. I'm never going to watch her again. Anyway, so I traced it on here, and I'm going to go get a coloring page here in a second and show you what I'm talking about. And so what you do is you trace it and then just color in the colors that you want, and then you can transfer it out, change out the stitches, like that. So eventually I will get this done, and I just thought this was so cute for any of you golfers out there. But anyway, so there's part of the second step that I went through, or second phase that I went through. But again, it's called Cross Stitch Graphic. Graphing system, become your own designer. It gives you step-by-step instructions inside. Gives you tips, conversion charts, how to mark your fabric, choice of thread color, just all different kinds of really good tips. Tells you exactly what you get. Like I said, you get 4 graphs. It's a transfer film used with colored pencils. And then on the back page, you can, oh, this was so awesome. This is one of the reasons why I did it too. This is before I even thought of Maddie. You can take your drawing works. Now, if you saw my first video, oh, there it is, demonstrated on the Carol Duvall show. That's where I saw it. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. You can take your child's or even your own drawings and place it on top of your drawings. And let's see if you can get a really good view of this. Maybe not. Oh, shoot. I am going to upgrade my camera soon. But anyway, you lay it down, you color it in, and then you can transfer, and you have you know, your works for life. If you don't frame the actual drawings, you can cross stitch it. So I just thought that was absolutely fascinating. It says the Graphic Design System helps you to create images to stitch. It's easy and can be accomplished by using this special film and colored pencils. Here's how, and then it tells you step by step. Let's see, uses for cross stitch that you can design for pillows, pincushions, eyeglass cases, trays, box tops, cozies for teapots, table runners, pocketbooks, shoes, slippers, collars, belts, pockets, game boards, vests, hair ornaments, bookmarks, Christmas stockings and decorations, wall hangings, pet collars, covers for books, wallets, checkbooks, address books, placemats, mats and photo frames, waste canvas items. Yeah, so anyway, so this was my second step. This was part 2. If you have not seen part 1 and you're interested, I will put a link below in the description box so that you can go see the first step that I took in creating my own patterns. The third step will be the actual transfer to the computer program that I'm using. There are actually 2 that I got over the years. One was PC Stitch. One was Pattern Maker. I prefer Pattern Maker, and I'll explain all that in my third upload and explain to you why. But I will be right back and show you exactly how this works. Okay, so I'm back. Alright, what I did was I went and pulled out a coloring from a coloring book from the Princess line that I colored for my daughter. Put a little message on here, Mommy, September 7th, 2013, I love you, Matson. And then down here, Mommy, 9/7/13. Now the reason why I did that was because, yes, I am in my 40s. I have drawings and pictures that my mother did for me when I was younger, and I just cherish them so much because she's no longer with us. She passed away when she was 44 years old. So I have outlived my mother. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. I apologize. Anyway, so I made this for my daughter. I colored it in with, let's see, I didn't use pencils. I actually used crayons on this one. So what you do is you lay it on a white sheet of paper. Then you take your cross-stitch graphic paper, lay it on top of it. I'm trying to do this with one hand. Ugh. Okay, because anyway, that's the only way it's working out. So, you lay it on top. I grabbed the 14 count sheet, and of course you're not going to put the dedication of the mommy. You could stitch that in though, if you just stitch in the lettering in the corners. Anyway, it'd be a great dedication. So, let's see if you can see this really good. See, now can you see? Let's see if it focuses in. This is so awesome the way it does this. This is my go-to if I really want to do something original. You see where the squares are. Now, how I match up my colors and see the perfect highlighting. You'll know exactly where to highlight. And on this one, I would not put black in the holes that cover the black where her chin is or on her person. You can. It makes it bolder. That's why, like, some of mine don't have back stitching. They have black lined stitches. But for something like this, you could, if you didn't want to do the black stitches, you could just do a 3371, the black brown, or you could do black for just lining it. And what I would do is I would take a black pencil. Now I think what I might do is hook this up to the camera and do a little speed footage on outlining this one and show you exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, it's kind of self-explanatory. You just draw it out on the graph with the black pencil, and like I said, that's how you get this. And you color it in. Now, to choose my colors on how I want it to be exact, I have boxes of floss, so I just take out my flosses and just hold it up to the original picture and then match up the colors, like with the shading of the green and the red and yellows and oranges of the roses. The blues, the light blues, the dark blues, and of course her mouth. I just take it and I go ahead and hold the floss up to it and pick what the best color would be. And then, again, down at the bottom of the sheet, once I got it figured out, I would just, please focus. Oh, it's not going to focus. I'm sorry, it's not focusing. I would just go ahead and fill in the bottom, so that would be my go-to for the colors. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this graph over the top, do some drawing, try to film a little bit of it while I'm doing that, and in the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, if I haven't made anything clear, or if you have any ideas of what you'd like to see as far as any more creations, please leave a comment below. And hopefully you're a subscriber so that you can get part 3 as well, and hopefully I'll be able to get that done. This is time consuming as far as like the handwork. I didn't want to do it too quickly. So anyway, alright, I shall be right back with some drawing. Okay, so I decided that since I'm going to be stitching this as well, I'm going to pick a different picture. This is out of, just to show you, this is an old Garfield coloring book, and I'm going to do this one. I think it'd be really cool. So let's get her started. So like I said, you're going to take your picture on a white background. I can't lift it up. You're going to put it underneath. Center it as best as you can. This might be too big. Let's just do the framed work. We're not going to do this part up here. So let's just lay it down. Just so. Line up. You want to line up your lines down at the bottom and to the sides as best you can. Now, what I didn't tell you before, what you need to do is you need to clip it down. What I use is these little clippies. You can use paper clips. You can use tack it over and over. Elaine's tack it over and over. That's really good. I highly recommend that. And I'm going to just clip that one there, and I'll clip this one up here. Alright, so got my black pencil ready to go, and let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to try to do this. I've got the camera at a very odd angle and it's kind of in my face because I need to get a smaller tripod. The tripod that I'm using is it's very bulky. It's for bigger cameras, and I'm using my little tiny cyber shot. But anyway, you see what I'm doing. You just kind of draw it, and you could put little, like, you could do, shoot, I can't even think right now. Knots, yes, sorry. You can do, French knots right there. The eyes. Now, if you ever find that you're messed up, oh, go figure, Garfield eraser. You just take an eraser, comes right up. It's awesome. I love these graph papers. So you can't really mess up. And if you find that when you're drawing this, it's not really going with the line work that you want, as far as like any type of back stitching, oops, and there it goes, breaks, that's okay. You could always, oh no, see, he's got funky looking eyes. You can always line it up. You don't have to. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. You can line it up. Oh shoot, see, I'm not used to doing this with the camera. I'm usually like, my face is usually like right on top of it. So you line it up with the camera. Line up with the camera, but listen to me. You line it up. And of course, Garfield has a little smug face. And if you find that you go over the same spots twice, that's okay. you can always, like I said, you can always erase. Now see, this is where I would put those French knots. Perfect for French knots, because that's the way most of my Garfield patterns are. They've got little French knots. I'm going to have to put my face around here a little bit so I can see. So he's got his little chin there. And so there's his eyes. So let's see. You can always take your clips off and check and see what it looks like. You can kind of tell. So you put it back down. Flip it again. And you can always line it up. I'm thinking I might just do Garfield without Arlene. Maybe we just do Garfield. So you draw. And there's no right way or wrong way to do this. You can always go back and add, erase. If you color it in and you don't like the colors, you can always go back over the colors. So you get the idea. Okay, so you get the idea of the tracing. So you just go in and you do the tracing. Let's see, I would backstitch all these little tiny stitches. Now, Garfield is typically, turn my colors around. I don't have the normal orange that I normally color for Garfield, but you get the idea. And the way that the graph is, it's really nice. It's got kind of a, not a rough surface, but it's not exactly smooth. It holds the pencil wonderfully. And I'm just using regular, everyday Crayola pencils. I don't want to use my Prismacolors on these. You can use the Prismacolors, but I just prefer to use the regular Crayolas, because you're just going to erase them, and it would be a waste of lead if you, or rather a waste of a good pencil. But anyway, you get the idea. His little cheekies have some yellow. And again, you're going to do those little round dots as French knots. Let's give him let's give him a pink nose. Where's my pink? Let's see. Oh, good grief. I don't want to give him a purple nose, but I think, no, here we go. There's a salmon color. I'll give him a salmon nose. I didn't get prepared. I apologize. I thought I had all my colors with me. So you get the idea on how to do with the graph paper. I'm going to take this out and show you how easy it is to put it back together too. So this is the second step, like I said, of what I used to do to create my patterns. So let's see if I can get that. Nope, it's not going to let me do that. Let's see if I can pull it in. Anyway, that's the beginning. That would be his eyes. And what you would do is you would go in and you would, stitch that. Color it in. Print it out. Stitch it. You can always go back and kind of line the lines up on the graph to make it a little bit easier to see when you're... So I would box this off. Bring this line straight down. Box that off. Box this around. Because you're going to be stitching it, you're just using, your black is just going to be your back stitching. So it doesn't have to be perfect on here. As long as you get your colored stitches in. I would do this part white. I would do this in, of course that's going to be the orange. And then his chin didn't come out the way I wanted it to. So, all you have to do is take your paper, lay it back down, line it back up, and it lines up perfectly. And then you finish drawing him in. I'll do a little bit more, and I'll probably speed up this part of the film. So. Okay, so rather than having you guys watch me do the whole thing, I went ahead and colored it and filled it in, and this was the image that it was. Did just the Garfield, colored him in. Now I'll go get my floss and match up the colors that I want to use for the pattern. Now what you're going to do is, let's see if it'll focus in. I apologize, I need a better camera. This is a pitchfork used for hay, so this I will probably do in a darker wood. color, like a dark brown, and then the top I'll do like in a silver gray metal type color. Garfield's pretty basic, so he's just going to be one shade of orange with one shade for the pink, one shade for the yellow for the mouth, and then I'll do 2 different blues for the overalls. I'll do one color for the red of the shirt. I might do a darker color for the collar and the cuffs. I'm not sure if I want to do that or not, but basically we're looking at what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 silver on the buttons, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the black, possibly 9 to 10 colors, so that's not bad. So yeah, I'll go ahead and do that, and we'll stitch it up, and you just follow squares, and we'll see where we'll go from there. Alright, Maddie's watching TV in the background. I hope it's not too loud. Okay, so got it all colored in. I've got my colors picked out. I'll go over that in a minute. But what I want to do is calculate how many stitches this is going to be. On the graphic paper on the side, you see these little divots. In between each divot is 10 stitches. Okay? So I calculated what I do. You don't have to just use colored pencils, you can use regular pencils. So got this up here, and I want to find my center as well. So that's where it's going to start. And this is where it's going to finish. We're going to have to go down. Okay, so again, this is where the eraser comes in. Just erase it out. Add a couple of stitches. Well, what I calculated was 70 stitches this way by 50 stitches this way. So I wrote it down. 70 by 50. So we get our trusty calculator. And 70 divided by 14. So we got 5 inches. 50 divided by 14, because there's 14 stitches to an inch. And let's see, we got 3.57. We'll round it up to 4. So 5 by 4 inches is what we're going to need. And then of course you add your 2 or 3 inch border around that. And so we'll get to stitching. Now, what colors I've chosen are, for the Garfield itself, it's not going to focus in. No. Okay. 741 for the body. 727 for his face. 957. Oh, I'm sorry, this isn't focusing very well. 957 for his nose. The silver, I chose the 453 in the gray to do the top of the pitchfork. Of course, 310 for your basic black. For the light blue on the blue jeans, I'm using a 799. For the dark blue, I'm going to use a 797. For the shirt, I did decide to go with a darker red for the collar and the cuffs. So I'm going to do that in 498. And I'm going to do the rest of the shirt in 817. It's got more of an orange into it. And then for the handle on the pitchfork, I'm going to do 434. So I'm going to go ahead and get it started, take a few pictures, and we'll go from there.